They say nothing stays hidden for long in the world of reality television, but this time, the whispers are louder than ever. Atlanta streets are buzzing, social media is spiraling, and fans are gasping in disbelief. Could it really be true? At 48 years old, Rashida Frost, the boss chick herself, might be carrying a secret that even her closest circle never saw coming. Cameras caught the faintest clue: a hand resting on her stomach a little longer than usual, a strategically oversized outfit, and that glowing smile that had fans asking, "Wait a minute, is Rashida pregnant?" Within hours, the rumor storm erupted, with timelines flooded by speculation, screenshots, and fan theories. But what made this whisper a full-blown earthquake was the reaction it supposedly triggered inside her own household. Kirk, blindsided and stumbling for words, was said to be caught completely off guard. And if that wasn't enough, Jasmine, woman whose name has been linked to more drama than anyone cares to count, was rumored to have her own explosive response. Some say the news set off an unexpected clash that turned dinner conversations into fiery accusations. Others believe there's more at play: questions of loyalty, age, betrayal, and family legacy, all tangled in one shocking revelation. Could this be the storyline that shakes love and hip-hop Atlanta to its very core? Fans are convinced, the clues are undeniable, and the Frost household may never be the same again. But was this pregnancy planned? Or is it a twist that could unravel everything Rashida has fought so hard to protect? Stay tuned, because the truth behind Rashida's alleged pregnancy is messier, juicier, and more shocking than anyone imagined. The night the rumors hit their peak, Atlanta was buzzing like never before. In the Frost household, whispers had already begun to seep through the cracks of what looked like a polished, untouchable empire. Rashida, the woman hailed for her poise, her hustle, and her uncanny ability to rise above scandal, found herself in the middle of a storm she hadn't anticipated. The simple act of wearing looser clothing to an industry event had turned into a wildfire of speculation. And fans, bloggers, and even fellow cast members could not stop talking. Cameras had caught Kirk shifting uncomfortably when asked about the pregnancy rumors, his hesitation reading less like ignorance and more like shock. "Man, I don't know what y'all talking about," he stammered, but his nervous laugh only fueled more gossip. Behind the scenes, his tone was less controlled. "Rashida, you didn't think you could just keep something like this from me, did you?" he demanded one evening, his voice edged with a mixture of fear and disbelief. Rashida, never one to back down, crossed her arms, her eyes steady. "And what if I did, Kirk? What if I didn't feel like you earned the right to know yet?" The air thickened as the weight of her words hung between them, heavy with history, mistrust, and the echoes of past betrayals that had scarred their marriage more than once. Fans watching from the outside couldn't believe what they were hearing. The possibility of a pregnancy at 48 wasn't just surprising, it was explosive. "She's too focused on her business to have another baby now," one fan tweeted. Another countered, "That's exactly why this would be such a plot twist. Rashida does everything on her own terms." And while social media lit up, another figure lurked on the sidelines, watching it all unfold with a simmering rage that only grew hotter with each headline. Jasmine. The name alone sent shivers down Rashida's spine, a reminder of wounds never fully healed. When Jasmine caught wind of the pregnancy rumors, insiders claimed she erupted. "So, that's how it's gonna be," she allegedly snapped during a late-night phone call to a mutual friend. "She's really about to play house and have another baby while Kirk sits there acting clueless. Please, I know this man better than she ever will." By the time Kirk and Rashida attempted to have a calm conversation, Jasmine had already lit the match that would send everything spiraling. She began dropping cryptic posts online, captions dripping with innuendo. One read, "Funny how life comes full circle. Don't forget who was there first," accompanied by a smirking emoji. Fans instantly speculated, dissecting every word as if it were gospel. Was she hinting that Kirk had already confided in her? Was she mocking Rashida's alleged pregnancy? Or was she simply stirring chaos for the thrill of it? Either way, the effect was immediate. Rashida, scrolling through the mess in the privacy of her bedroom, threw her phone onto the bed in frustration. "She really can't let go, can she?" she muttered, more to herself than to Kirk, who stood awkwardly by the door. Kirk, knowing he had no ground to stand on after years of questionable loyalty, said nothing. His silence, though, spoke volumes, and it cut Rashida deeper than any insult. What made the situation even more volatile was the reaction of those closest to them. Their sons, who had grown up watching their parents' every public scandal play out, were caught between curiosity and fear. Friends of the family began to take sides, some urging Rashida to embrace her truth and others warning her that another child would only reignite old wounds. At a girls' night out, Rashida's close friend Candy leaned across the table and asked bluntly, "Girl, are you really pregnant, or are we all just losing our minds?" Rashida gave a knowing smirk but refused to answer directly, leaving the entire table in suspense. That silence only fueled speculation even more, and before long, the storyline had become bigger than any of them imagined. The tension in the Frost household boiled over during what was supposed to be a quiet dinner. Kirk, visibly stressed, tried once again to get answers. "Look, Rashida, if this is real, if you're really pregnant, don't you think I should have been the first to know?" His voice cracked with a mix of frustration and desperation. Rashida, staring at her plate, finally looked up, her expression calm but sharp. "You lost the privilege of being the first to know when you gave it to someone else," she said, her words slicing through the air like a blade. Kirk pushed back from the table, running his hand over his face. "I can't believe we're back here again," he muttered, his tone defeated. At that moment, the doorbell rang, and when Rashida opened the door, standing there with a smirk that could ignite a war, was Jasmine herself. Her presence was both unexpected and calculated. "Well, well, well," Jasmine said, stepping inside without invitation. "Seems like congratulations are in order. Or are we all just pretending?" Again, the living room became a battlefield as Kirk scrambled to calm the rising storm. Rashida stood tall, refusing to let her enemy see her flinch. "What are you even doing here, Jasmine? Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough already?" Jasmine laughed, her voice dripping with mockery. "Embarrassed? Sweetheart, if anyone's embarrassed, it's you. Having a baby at your age, with a man who's been mine longer than he's been yours. That's not boss chick behavior, that's desperation." The words struck hard, but Rashida refused to crumble. Instead, she fired back with a strength that reminded everyone why she had survived every scandal thrown her way. "Desperation is showing up uninvited to a house you'll never call home," she shot back. The exchange was electric, filled with venom, heartbreak, and raw emotion. Fans would later say it was one of the most jaw-dropping confrontations in reality TV history. But what no one realized in that moment was that the truth about Rashida's secret wasn't just about a pregnancy, it was about survival, power, and a legacy that neither Jasmine nor anyone else could ever take from her. The night ended in chaos, with Kirk stuck between two women who defined his past and his future, unsure of how to move forward. As Jasmine stormed out, slamming the door behind her, Rashida turned to Kirk with a quiet resolve. "This is my life, my body, and my choice," she said firmly. "And whether you're with me or not, I'll handle it like I always do on my own terms." Kirk, his eyes weary with regret, knew then that the days ahead would test not only their marriage but their entire family's foundation. And as the cameras rolled, fans across the world leaned in, desperate to see what would come next. The fallout from Jasmine's explosive intrusion did not die down overnight. In fact, it seemed to multiply. With every passing hour. The next morning, Atlanta gossip blogs were already buzzing with exclusive tips from alleged insiders who swore they knew exactly what went down inside the Frost household. One post screamed, "Rashida and Jasmine face off over secret pregnancy." Kirk speechless. Screenshots of Jasmine's late-night cryptic posts circulated again, this time paired with fan theories that Rashida's silence during the argument was proof she was hiding a pregnancy. The Frosts woke up to hundreds of notifications, their phones buzzing like alarm bells they could not silence. Kirk sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through the endless feed of chaos, his face pale. "They got everything out there already," he muttered, almost to himself. Rashida walked past him, deliberately calm, pouring her coffee as though the world wasn't spinning out of control. "Let them talk," she said coolly. "Talking is all they know how to do." But Kirk couldn't shake the sense that their private nightmare was slipping further and further into the hands of the public. That day, production for the show reached out, eager to capture the fallout. Cameras were set up in the Frost household by afternoon, and what was supposed to be a regular shoot quickly turned into one of the most emotionally raw days of filming in recent memory. Rashida sat on the couch, her hands folded tightly in her lap, her gaze steady as the producer asked, "So, Rashida, are the pregnancy rumors true?" The silence that followed was deafening. Rashida finally let out a breath, her eyes narrowing just slightly. "People will believe whatever they want. I'm not here to explain myself to folks who never had my back in the first place. The evasiveness only fueled more speculation, but her refusal to confirm or deny had fans glued to the screen. Meanwhile, Jasmine was playing a different game. She arranged a sit-down interview with another cast member, Ariane, who couldn't resist, pressing for details. "So you really think Rashida's pregnant?" Ariane asked, leaning forward with wide eyes. Jasmine smirked, her voice dripping with condescension. "I don't think. I know. That woman has been walking around hiding something, and Kirk ain't slick either. He's been acting different. I've seen that look before." Ariane gasped dramatically, covering her mouth as though she had just heard the most shocking revelation of her life. Jasmine leaned back, satisfied, knowing every word would ripple across social media within minutes of airing. But what Jasmine hadn't counted on was the strength of Rashida's circle. At a gathering later that week, Rashida was surrounded by her closest friends, women who had seen her through every betrayal, every tear, every fight. Candy, always outspoken, wasn't about to let the rumor sit unchallenged. "Sis, you gotta say something," she urged, her tone equal parts protective and demanding. "If you are pregnant, own it. If you're not, shut her down." But this halfway silence thing, that just gives Jasmine room to keep running her mouth. Rashida leaned forward, her eyes blazing. "I don't owe Jasmine a damn thing," she snapped. "And I don't owe the public a play-by-play of my life either. If I'm carrying a child, that's between me, my family, and God. Period." The conviction in her voice drew nods of agreement from the table, though the tension still lingered like smoke after a fire. Kirk, on the other hand, was unraveling. He knew that no matter how Rashida tried to keep her dignity intact, his past with Jasmine gave the story more fuel than it ever needed. In a private moment caught on camera, he admitted, "I messed up. I gave Jasmine too much power over us years ago, and now it's like she's holding it over Rashida forever. I don't know how to fix it." His confession was raw, but it also painted him as the man caught between two women again. Fans watching later would tear him apart in the comments, accusing him of weakness, betrayal, and cowardice. "Kirk always playing the victim when he's the one who created this mess," one viewer tweeted. Another wrote, "Rashida deserves way better. She's the only one holding that family together." The drama reached a boiling point when Rashida and Jasmine crossed paths again. This time at a cast event that was supposed to be about celebrating a new business launch. The atmosphere shifted the moment Jasmine walked in, her heels clicking against the floor like warning shots. Rashida, already aware of the brewing tension, locked eyes with her the second she entered. The room fell silent as Jasmine approached, her smirk as defiant as ever. "So," Jasmine said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "how's Mama Tubi doing tonight?" Gasps echoed around the room. Rashida stood, her composure icy but controlled. "You really have nothing else to talk about, do you?" she retorted. Jasmine shrugged, her tone mocking. "I'm just saying what everyone's already thinking. Don't shoot the messenger." The confrontation spiraled quickly. Voices rose, accusations flew, and friends scrambled to pull the women apart before it turned physical. Kirk, caught in the middle once again, tried to step between them. "Enough," he shouted, his voice finally breaking through the chaos. But his attempt to calm things only made it worse. Jasmine turned to him, her words cutting like glass. "You can shout all you want, Kirk, but you and I both know the truth. And the truth is, she's not the only one who's been keeping secrets." The room froze. Even Rashida's expression shifted, her eyes narrowing with suspicion. "What the hell does that mean?" she demanded. Jasmine only smirked, sipping her drink with deliberate slowness before walking away. The cliffhanger was enough to send fans into a frenzy online, with theories exploding about what Jasmine was hinting at. Did Kirk have another secret child? Was Jasmine fabricating drama just to stay relevant? Or was she holding on to a truth that could destroy the Frost family forever? By the time the event ended, Rashida was visibly shaken. Back home, she confronted Kirk directly. What did she mean by that, Kirk? What secrets is she talking about? Kirk, his hands trembling, avoided her gaze. "She's just stirring the pot. You know how she is." But Rashida wasn't convinced. "No," she said firmly, her voice cracking just slightly. "I need to hear it from you. Because if you're keeping something from me again, I swear this is the last time I let you break me." The weight of her ultimatum hung heavy in the room, and for the first time in a long time, Kirk realized he was standing on the edge of losing everything. The cameras caught it all. The tears in Rashida's eyes. The panic in Kirk's voice. and the smug satisfaction Jasmine carried as she watched from afar, knowing she had planted another bomb in the middle of their lives. What no one could predict was just how far this war would go or how deep the truth would cut once it finally came to light. The following days blurred into a whirlwind of confrontation, manipulation, and strategic maneuvering. Rashida, though outwardly composed, felt the weight of every whisper, every social media post, every judgmental glance. Even her closest friends noticed a subtle shift in her demeanor. She was sharper, more calculating, less willing to let anyone walk over her, yet more cautious about whom she trusted. Kirk, meanwhile, oscillated between guilt and defensiveness. He knew the public was watching his every move, and the fear of another scandal-breaking one that could tear his marriage apart pressed on him relentlessly. He found himself pacing the floors at night, replaying Jasmine's cryptic words over and over. Secrets, he muttered to himself, are the only things that matter to her. Rashida, aware of his anxiety, seized the moment to assert her control. One evening, during an unusually tense dinner, she leaned in and said quietly, "Kirk, this ends with me deciding what the truth is and how it comes out. Not her, not the fans, me." The firmness in her voice left Kirk momentarily speechless, a rare moment in which Rashida's authority in the relationship felt absolute. As the weeks went on, the story snowballed. News outlets began reporting alleged inside sources claiming to have confirmation of Rashida's pregnancy. One headline screamed, "48-year-old Rashida defies the odds, baby, on the way." The story spread like wildfire. Fans flooded comment sections with a mix of admiration and disbelief. "She's amazing. 48 and still thriving." One wrote, "I can't even imagine the courage it takes." Another typed. Amid the frenzy, Kirk's attempts to defend himself only made the narrative more compelling. Interviews with snippets of his nervous, stammering denial were edited to make it appear as though he were hiding something, fueling further speculation. The tension escalated further when Jasmine decided to escalate her presence. She began attending public events with subtle, calculated mentions of new beginnings and family surprises, always with a knowing smirk. It was enough to make fans speculate wildly that she had inside information, yet she revealed nothing concrete. This strategy kept Rashida on high alert, forcing her to balance her public persona with private negotiations and emotional defense mechanisms that left her drained but resolute. Kirk's growing frustration with Jasmine's games led to heated arguments between him and Rashida behind closed doors. "Why does she always have to involve herself?" he shouted one night, the exhaustion evident in his tone. Rashida, steady and unyielding, replied, "Because you let her, Kirk, and because you're scared to take a stand." "I am not." Adding another layer of tension, the family began to fracture in subtle ways. Some friends and extended family members publicly supported Rashida, praising her strength and independence. Others, however, hinted at concern, worried about the implications of a pregnancy at her age, as well as the drama it had unleashed. One relative was overheard saying, "Rashida is making choices that could hurt everyone around her." A statement that, when leaked to the press, reignited the storm. Rashida, ever the strategist, held her ground, knowing that her life was a careful balance of private resilience and public spectacle. Meanwhile, Jasmine was not idle. She began planting seeds of doubt in Kirk's mind. Private messages, social media interactions, and casual remarks during public appearances created a web of psychological pressure designed to destabilize the Frost household. "You know she's not telling you everything," Jasmine whispered to Kirk during a supposedly chance encounter at a charity event. "She's always been in control. And you're just along for the ride." The insinuation hit Kirk hard, amplifying his anxiety and forcing him to confront his own insecurities. Rashida, aware of Jasmine's manipulations, tightened her inner circle, relying on her closest friends to filter information and protect her from further emotional sabotage. Then came the turning point. During a live-streamed interview that fans would later call the most explosive moment of the season, Rashida was asked directly about the pregnancy rumors. The camera captured every subtle facial expression, every pause, and every sigh. With a calm yet pointed delivery, she said, "I've always believed in controlling my narrative. Some stories are true, some are false, but the people who matter will always know the truth. Everything else is noise." The statement, intentionally ambiguous, created an uproar. Viewers dissected every word, every gesture, arguing for hours about whether she had confirmed or denied the pregnancy. The media frenzy was instantaneous, with hashtags trending across multiple platforms, debates igniting in comment sections, and fan theories running rampant. In the midst of the chaos, private conversations between Rashida and Kirk revealed cracks in their partnership. Kirk, torn between loyalty and fear, attempted to apologize for past mistakes, while Rashida, though listening, held firm in her convictions. "I've carried us through storms before, Kirk, you know that," she said one evening, her voice both gentle and commanding. "This is no different. But I need to know you're truly here, not swayed by her games, not hiding behind excuses." The intensity of her demand underscored the stakes. This was not just about a rumored pregnancy, it was about trust, power, and the ability to weather the most public storms together. Fans were glued to every detail. Social media exploded with speculation about whether Rashida's stoic demeanor was genuine strength or a mask hiding vulnerability. Blogs dissected her fashion choices, her expressions, and her interactions with Kirk, looking for signs that could confirm or deny the pregnancy. Meanwhile, Jasmine continued to fan the flames subtly, never revealing too much but always implying that she had insights that the public couldn't yet see. The tension reached a point where even casual encounters in Atlanta restaurants or shopping centers were rumored to be part of a larger strategy, fueling the narrative that Rashida's life was an open stage for drama, manipulation, and shocking revelations. The dynamic between Rashida, Kirk, and Jasmine became a chess game played in public and private simultaneously. Every word, every glance, every social media post was a move designed to assert dominance, test loyalties, and manipulate perception. Kirk, trapped between past indiscretions and present chaos, struggled to navigate the minefield. Rashida, aware of every strategy Jasmine employed, prepared countermeasures with precision, all while maintaining the poise that had earned her admiration for decades. The unfolding saga captivated fans worldwide, who followed each development with a mix of disbelief and fascination, unable to look away as the story of a possible secret pregnancy at 48 intertwined with betrayal, power plays, and relentless emotional warfare. The tension reached its peak as the Frost household became a battleground of emotions, secrets, and strategic maneuvers. Rashida, always calculated and poised, began to assert her dominance more overtly, refusing to allow Jasmine or anyone else to dictate the narrative surrounding her alleged pregnancy. Every public appearance was scrutinized, every smile, every gesture dissected by fans and media alike. Kirk, increasingly aware of how fragile his position had become, struggled to maintain composure. One evening, during what was meant to be a quiet family dinner, Rashida finally confronted him. "Kirk," she said quietly, her eyes locking onto his, "you need to be honest with me. No more hiding, no more lies. If we're going to survive this, it has to be truth first." Kirk's face paled, his throat tightening. He knew that the walls he had built over years of mistakes were finally crumbling, and that Rashida would not allow another deception to stand. Jasmine, ever the provocateur, had learned of this confrontation through her network of friends and insiders. Determined to maintain control over her narrative, she began leaking subtle hints to social media, creating a perfect storm of speculation. Captions like "Some truths can't stay hidden forever," and "Everyone has a choice to make" ignited endless debate, with fans furiously dissecting the posts for hidden meanings. It wasn't long before the online frenzy spilled into real-life consequences. Production crews caught snippets of Rashida's sharp glances, Kirk's anxious pacing, and Jasmine's knowing smirks, creating a mosaic of tension that fans described as must-watch drama. Amid the chaos, Rashida relied on her closest friends for emotional support. Candy, ever blunt and loyal, didn't mince words during a private conversation. "Girl, you have to play this smart," she said, placing a hand on Rashida's shoulder. "Don't let anyone, not Kirk, not Jasmine, not the media, control this. It's your story, your body, your rules." Rashida nodded, taking in the advice. Her resolve strengthened. She realized that surviving this storm meant not only navigating her personal life, but also maintaining her public image in a world that thrived on scandal. Meanwhile, Kirk's unease grew. Every encounter with Jasmine, every social media post, every whisper in Atlanta seemed to push him closer to breaking point. He struggled with feelings of guilt and fear, knowing that his past actions had given Jasmine leverage, and that Rashida's trust in him hung by a fragile thread. Private arguments between him and Rashida became intense, often leaving both exhausted and emotionally drained. "I can't keep doing this," Kirk admitted one night, his voice a mixture of frustration and desperation. Rashida, her tone, steady but firm, replied, "Then maybe it's time you decide what really matters, us or the chaos she's trying to create." The weeks that followed were a roller coaster of confrontations, strategic planning, and public scrutiny. Rashida maintained a delicate balance between transparency and discretion, carefully choosing when and how to reveal information. Her every move was deliberate, a casual comment here, a subtle hint there. Enough to keep fans intrigued but never fully satisfied. Kirk, meanwhile, tried to navigate the minefield of public opinion, often caught between defending his wife and mitigating the fallout from past indiscretions. Jasmine continued to manipulate the narrative, skillfully using social media and insider contacts to keep the drama alive. The climax came during a highly publicized event where the three were in the same room, a charity gala that had drawn attention for its celebrity attendees. Cameras captured every subtle glance, every whispered word, and every tense interaction. At one point, Jasmine approached Rashida with a thinly veiled smile. "So, when are we getting the big announcement?" she asked, her tone dripping with insinuation. Rashida, composed but fierce, responded, "You'll know when I decide to tell the world. Until then, your speculation is just noise." The exchange was electric, leaving fans and media outlets scrambling to analyze every nuance. Following the gala, private confrontations escalated. Rashida, Kirk, and Jasmine found themselves entangled in a series of heated discussions that exposed long-buried secrets, unresolved grievances, and raw emotions. Kirk's loyalty was tested repeatedly, and Rashida's patience, though formidable, was pushed to its limits. Jasmine, meanwhile, reveled in the chaos, her every move designed to provoke reactions and manipulate perceptions. Yet, despite the storm, Rashida's resilience shone through. She faced each challenge with a combination of intelligence, assertiveness, and unwavering self-confidence, reminding everyone that she was not merely a participant in the drama but a force to be reckoned with. The final days of this chapter were marked by a mix of resolution and lingering tension. Rashida and Kirk reached a tentative understanding, acknowledging that their bond was stronger than the manipulations surrounding them. They agreed to face the media strategically, revealing only what they chose to share, and reclaiming control over their narrative. Jasmine, sensing her influence waning, continued to stir controversy from a distance, ensuring that the drama would persist in some form. Fans, captivated by every twist and turn, remained glued to social media and entertainment platforms, eagerly awaiting the next revelation. By the time the dust began to settle, the Frost household had emerged stronger, more united, and more vigilant than ever. Rashida's alleged pregnancy had become more than a rumor, it was a catalyst for transformation, forcing her, Kirk, and even their extended circle to confront their deepest fears, their past mistakes, and the realities of life in the public eye. The story, filled with suspense, betrayal, and emotional intensity, reminded fans why they had been drawn to these personalities in the first place. Rashida, at the center of it all, proved that even amidst chaos, she could command respect, protect her legacy, and navigate the treacherous waters of fame with grace, determination, and undeniable strength. The Frost household was never quiet for long, and after the explosive events surrounding Rashida's alleged pregnancy and the chaotic confrontations with Jasmine, the tension only seemed to thicken like a storm cloud refusing to break. Every morning brought a new wave of speculation, whispers and pointed glances that transformed even ordinary tasks into high-stakes theater. Kirk, who had spent decades walking a tightrope between his loyalty to Rashida and the ghosts of past indiscretions, found himself unraveling in ways he hadn't anticipated. Each time he scrolled through social media, he saw a barrage of opinions, memes, and fan theories that dissected his every expression, gesture, and word from the previous day's drama. Some posts praised him as a victim of Jasmine's relentless manipulation, while others painted him as complicit, someone who had allowed secrets to fester and now faced the inevitable consequences. Rashida, fully aware of the storm outside, maintained an almost eerie calm, moving through her days with the precision of someone who understood that in a world fueled by gossip, silence could be both a weapon and a shield. She attended meetings, filmed scenes, and interacted with fans, each time carefully controlling her expressions, dropping subtle hints, and refusing to be painted as the stereotypical victim, the struggling mother, or the woman hiding shameful secrets. Instead, she projected a mixture of strength, poise, and calculated vulnerability that only heightened the public's fascination with her life. Meanwhile, Jasmine, fully aware of the media frenzy, capitalized on it with surgical precision, ensuring her presence lingered even in her absence. Through a combination of veiled social media posts, ambiguous remarks in interviews, and strategically timed appearances, she crafted an image of omniscience, someone who knew more than she should, someone who existed both inside and outside the Frost household's immediate orbit, subtly asserting dominance over a situation she had long been excluded from. Every encounter between the three, whether accidental or orchestrated, became a chess match of power, emotion, and public perception. Fans, glued to their screens, dissected each glance, each pause, each carefully chosen word as if decoding a masterful puzzle, convinced that the smallest detail could reveal whether the pregnancy rumors were true, whether Kirk was finally being honest, or whether Jasmine held the ultimate leverage. Behind closed doors, the emotional temperature soared, as long-suppressed frustrations and anxieties spilled into private confrontations that were at once raw, explosive, and unrelenting. One evening, after a particularly tense day of filming and media interactions, Kirk and Rashida faced each other in the quiet of their living room. A moment that was meant to be private but which insiders would later describe as a pivotal turning point in their story. Kirk's voice shook as he attempted to reconcile his own guilt and fear with the reality of the situation, saying, "Rashida, I don't know how to make this right. I never wanted it to get this far. I never wanted to hurt you." And now, he trailed off, his frustration palpable, his eyes betraying the depth of his regret. Rashida, sitting across from him with an uncharacteristic stillness, studied him carefully. Her words, when they came, were measured but fierce. "Kirk, we've both made mistakes. You've always known the stakes, always understood the game. But now, this is about more than us. This is about me, my choices, and the life I intend to lead. If you can't be honest, if you can't stand with me without letting anyone get the upper hand, then maybe you're not the partner I need right now." The weight of her statement hung in the air like a dense fog, suffocating yet liberating, demanding a reckoning that Kirk could not evade. And yet, even as they confronted each other, the shadow of Jasmine's influence loomed large, her presence felt in every interaction, every whispered rumor, every lingering glance that hinted at secrets she may or may not be holding. She had become a master of psychological warfare, a figure who could unsettle both Rashida and Kirk with nothing more than a carefully crafted post or a subtle remark in public. Her motives, partly personal, partly strategic, created a tension so thick it could almost be sliced, leaving everyone, cast, fans, and friends, on edge. The emotional strain on Rashida, however, did not break her. Rather, it honed her, sharpened her instincts, and clarified her priorities. She navigated each day with an almost imperceptible blend of defiance and grace, asserting boundaries, choosing her battles, and maintaining an aura of mystery that fueled the public's obsession. Every social media post, every public appearance, every carefully framed smile became a statement. She was in control. She was untouchable, and she was far from predictable. Kirk, caught between past loyalties and present realities, struggled to find his footing. The fear of public humiliation, the lingering uncertainty about Jasmine's manipulation, and the very real possibility that Rashida was holding back a secret he might never fully understand, created a psychological pressure cooker that left him restless, defensive, and increasingly desperate for reassurance. And yet, Rashida's presence, her unwavering composure, her sharp intelligence, and her refusal to succumb to panic acted as both a challenge and a guide, forcing him to confront his own failings while simultaneously reminding him of why their bond had survived so many storms in the past. Meanwhile, the fans continued to play an integral role in the drama, their speculations and reactions feeding directly into the ongoing tension. Every ambiguous glance captured on camera became fodder for analysis, every brief pause in conversation a source of conspiracy theories, and every subtle facial expression a potential confirmation of rumors. Bloggers, influencers, and entertainment outlets dissected the smallest details, amplifying the stakes and ensuring that the Frost household existed not only in reality but also in the minds of millions, where every action carried exaggerated significance. Within this charged atmosphere, Rashida took deliberate steps to reclaim agency, asserting that her life, her choices, and her potential pregnancy were hers alone to reveal or conceal. She leveraged her network of trusted friends, filtered the flow of information, and prepared for every possible confrontation, public or private, with meticulous planning that bordered on genius. Each encounter with Jasmine, each interaction with Kirk, and each public appearance became a calculated move in a larger, unseen game where emotional strength, strategic thinking, and self-possession were the only weapons that mattered. Even when confronted with the most biting provocations, Rashida remained poised, delivering measured responses that were equal parts dignified and devastating, ensuring that any attempt to undermine her credibility or authority would be met with subtle but undeniable force. Yet, the emotional toll of maintaining such perfection was heavy. In private moments, when the cameras were off and the city slept, Rashida allowed herself glimpses of vulnerability, moments where the enormity of the rumors, the chaos, and the manipulation threatened to crack the armor she so carefully maintained. In those moments, Kirk's presence, sometimes steady, sometimes faltering, became a mirror, reflecting both his own shortcomings and the strength she had cultivated through years of adversity. And still, Jasmine's specter remained omnipresent, a reminder that in this world of public scrutiny, personal grievances, and reality TV spectacle, peace was fleeting, and control was always temporary. The story, unfolding across social media feeds, entertainment news, and insider accounts, continued to escalate, creating a landscape where truth, rumor, and perception collided violently, leaving every observer, every fan, every friend, every cast member locked in a collective suspense that only seemed to deepen with each passing day. And yet, through the chaos, through the manipulation, through the relentless psychological warfare waged by an enemy who seemed to anticipate every move, Rashida's resilience did not waver. Every calculated step she took, every measured word she spoke, every glance she allowed the cameras to capture became a testament to her power, her intelligence, and her unwavering determination to dictate the course of her life, no matter the stakes. The household, though fraught with tension, began to take on a rhythm of its own, a precarious balance of strategic engagement, emotional reckoning, and subtle dominance that kept everyone, from Kirk to Jasmine to the viewing public, on edge. Even as new rumors swirled, new confrontations loomed, and new challenges threatened to destabilize the delicate equilibrium, Rashida navigated each obstacle with a masterful combination of strength, intuition, and foresight, reminding the world and herself that she was not merely a participant in the drama, but the orchestrator of her own narrative, a woman whose choices, power, and secrets commanded attention, respect, and relentless intrigue, ensuring that no matter how the story unfolded, Rashida would remain the center of the universe she controlled, with unwavering precision and unmatched poise. And as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks threatened to become months, the anticipation, suspense, and unresolved tension surrounding her alleged pregnancy, Kirk's loyalty, and Jasmine's machinations only grew, transforming the Frost household into a live stage where reality, rumor, and human emotion collided in a spectacle so compelling, so unpredictable, and so explosively dramatic that the world could not look away, where every decision, every glance, every whispered word held the potential to ignite new chaos, deepen existing fractures, and redefine relationships forever, proving that in the high-stakes universe of fame, power, and public scrutiny, Rashida's life was not just a story, it was an ongoing masterclass in resilience, control, and the art of surviving, thriving, and dominating amid the most relentless storms imaginable, ensuring that her presence, influence, and undeniable force would be felt, dissected, and admired by fans, media, and foes alike, long after the rumors had begun, long after the confrontations had ended, and long after anyone could have predicted the true scale of the drama that her life, her secrets, and her unyielding determination would unleash on the world. The intensity inside the Frost household showed no signs of relenting, as every day seemed to bring a fresh wave of rumors, confrontations, and calculated manipulations that kept Rashida, Kirk, and Jasmine locked in an emotional tug-of-war that the public could hardly follow without feeling as if they were part of the drama themselves. Social media erupted on a near-constant basis, with fans dissecting every movement, every fleeting expression, every carefully chosen word that surfaced online, trying desperately to determine whether Rashida was indeed pregnant, whether Kirk's loyalty was truly intact, or whether Jasmine had yet another secret up her sleeve that could destabilize the fragile balance they all seemed to maintain. Rashida, fully aware of the scrutiny, moved through her days with a mixture of elegance and precision, carefully managing both her personal interactions and her public persona in a way that left even the most devoted fans guessing at her next move. Kirk, meanwhile, felt the crushing weight of responsibility and fear in equal measure, aware that any misstep could undo the fragile trust he had fought so hard to rebuild, while Jasmine, ever the provocateur, continued to push the narrative forward with subtle but unmistakable hints that she alone knew the truth, planting seeds of doubt with the efficiency of a seasoned strategist who understood that perception could be more powerful than reality itself. Every family gathering, every chance meeting, every scripted filming day became a minefield of emotional tension, as Rashida balanced her desire for privacy against the need to assert her authority. Kirk struggled to find a middle ground between honesty and damage control, and Jasmine relished in the chaos she had helped orchestrate, knowing that even the smallest slip could escalate into another viral moment that fans would dissect endlessly. In private, Rashida's resilience was tested repeatedly, as she navigated the intricate web of alliances, rivalries, and shifting loyalties that surrounded her. From friends who offered unwavering support to family members whose opinions sometimes carried more judgment than advice, all while maintaining a public image that radiated strength and composure in the face of relentless scrutiny. Kirk's own emotional state teetered on the edge, as moments of panic, self-doubt, and fear of betrayal collided with flashes of determination to stand by Rashida. Even as Jasmine's calculated insinuations gnawed at his confidence and forced him to confront uncomfortable truths about his past decisions and the lingering impact they had on his present. The public, of course, played a relentless role in the unfolding saga, turning even the most mundane interactions into high drama spectacles. A brief glance exchanged between Rashida and Kirk could be interpreted as tension, reconciliation, or foreshadowing, while a carefully staged smile at a charity event might be dissected as confirmation of rumors, proof of deception, or a tactical response designed to control the narrative. In the midst of all this, Rashida demonstrated an uncanny ability to command attention without sacrificing her dignity, turning each encounter into an opportunity to assert control, maintain secrecy, and subtly challenge those who sought to undermine her, including Kirk when he faltered under pressure, and Jasmine, whose relentless provocations seemed to be designed specifically to test Rashida's resolve. The emotional landscape of the Frost household became increasingly complex, as underlying resentments, lingering insecurities, and unspoken anxieties intertwined with the very public drama to create a perfect storm of tension that left every observer on edge, from family members caught in the crossfire to fans analyzing every clip, every screenshot, every behind-the-scenes moment for insight into what could be true and what might be carefully manufactured manipulation. Yet Rashida's poise never faltered. She used the mounting tension as a tool, controlling the tempo of interactions, choosing her words with surgical precision, and responding to provocations in a way that simultaneously protected her personal life and amplified her influence over the narrative. Kirk's struggle to maintain composure, meanwhile, created a dynamic that was both captivating and nerve-wracking, as viewers could sense his internal battle between guilt, fear, and genuine concern for Rashida, all while facing the constant threat of public misinterpretation and the subtle psychological maneuvers deployed by Jasmine to destabilize him further. Jasmine, ever the schemer, continued to operate with a mix of charm and menace, appearing supportive in certain situations while carefully dropping hints that suggested she held insider knowledge. A strategy that kept fans guessing, fueled gossip columns, and ensured that no day passed without fresh speculation about the true nature of the Frost family dynamics, Rashida's alleged pregnancy, and Kirk's role in the unfolding story. The tension reached new heights when a live-streamed event captured a private exchange between Rashida and Jasmine, where words barely audible to the cameras seemed loaded with implication, prompting viewers to replay clips endlessly, analyze body language, and debate the meaning behind every pause, glance, and subtle inflection. Rashida's responses were measured, assertive, and undeniably powerful, signaling to everyone that she remained in control of her story, her emotions, and her life, while Jasmine's behavior, alternating between provocateur and enigmatic observer, amplified the suspense and ensured that the drama would continue to dominate conversation both online and offline. Meanwhile, Kirk's involvement became increasingly pivotal. His attempts to navigate the fragile equilibrium between honesty, loyalty, and fear of exposure made him a lightning rod for both criticism and sympathy, as fans oscillated between calling him weak and praising him for attempting to stand by Rashida under impossible circumstances. Behind closed doors, the pressure intensified, as Rashida held private conversations with close confidants to strategize how best to handle Jasmine's provocations while safeguarding her potential pregnancy, ensuring that every public statement, every filmed scene, and every social media post reinforced her autonomy while maintaining suspense and emotional engagement for the audience. As the story unfolded, it became clear that the dynamics of the Frost household were more than mere reality television drama. They were a masterclass in emotional strategy, manipulation, and resilience. With Rashida at the center, orchestrating each interaction, anticipating every move, and asserting her presence with unparalleled skill. Fans, captivated by the unrelenting tension, dissected every facet of the story. From wardrobe choices to tone of voice, from fleeting facial expressions to social media captions, creating a feedback loop that amplified the stakes and ensured that the alleged pregnancy, the family's internal conflicts, and the ongoing psychological battle between Rashida, Kirk, and Jasmine remained the most discussed topic in entertainment circles. And yet, despite the relentless pressure, Rashida remained unshaken, navigating the labyrinth of public scrutiny, private confrontation, and social manipulation with poise, intelligence, and unwavering determination, proving time and again that no rumor, no provocation, and no betrayal could diminish her control over her life, her narrative, or the drama that had enveloped her world, ensuring that even as tensions escalated and new revelations threatened to emerge at any moment, she would continue to dominate the story, leaving fans, critics, and adversaries alike captivated, astonished, and perpetually guessing about what would happen next, all while maintaining an undeniable aura of strength, resilience, and calculated mystery that made every interaction, every glance, and every word a critical piece of a drama that had become far larger than any single individual, transcending speculation and rumor to become an immersive spectacle of human emotion, strategic brilliance, and unrelenting intrigue that left everyone, friends, and fans on the edge of their seats, craving the next moment, the next confrontation, the next revelation in the ongoing saga of Rashida, Kirk, and Jasmine. And so, after weeks of whispers, stares, and social media explosions, the Frost household drama has reached a point where it's impossible to turn away. Rashida's alleged secret pregnancy at 48, Kirk's torn loyalties, and Jasmine's relentless provocations have created a story so tangled, so emotionally charged, and so shocking that fans around the world are left questioning what is real, what is rumor, and what will happen next. You've watched as alliances shifted, as emotions ran high, and as secrets both whispered and shouted threatened to unravel everything this family thought they could protect. You've seen Rashida, poised and unwavering, asserting her control over her narrative, refusing to let anyone manipulate her, while Kirk struggled with guilt, fear, and the heavy weight of public scrutiny, and Jasmine played the role of the ever-present shadow, planting doubt and stirring controversy at every turn. The drama, the suspense, the raw human emotion, it's all been here, unfolding in real time, and yet the story feels far from over. What makes this saga truly unforgettable is the unpredictability of it all. One moment, Rashida appears untouchable, commanding every room she enters, with a gaze that says she is the master of her own story. The next, a subtle glance from Jasmine, or a cryptic comment on social media threatens to destabilize the fragile balance of trust, loyalty, and love that binds this family. Kirk, caught in the middle, becomes the lens through which fans examine human vulnerability, accountability, and the complex nature of relationships in the public eye. He is both sympathetic and flawed, a character whose decisions could tip the scales toward reconciliation or catastrophe at any given moment. And you, watching as a fan, a follower, or a devoted observer, are drawn in not just by the spectacle, but by the real emotions, the tension, and the stakes that make this story feel bigger than entertainment. It feels alive. As we reflect on the chaos, one thing is abundantly clear: nothing in this story is simple. Every secret has consequences, every reaction fuels the next round of speculation, and every choice made by Rashida, Kirk, or Jasmine ripples through their world and beyond. Fans have been divided, friends have been tested, and the family itself has faced moments of raw, undeniable conflict. And yet, through it all, Rashida has shown time and time again that she is a force to be reckoned with, a woman whose resilience, intelligence, and determination allow her to navigate storms that would crumble many others. Kirk's role, too, is pivotal, illustrating how trust and accountability can be both fragile and essential, while Jasmine's manipulations highlight the power of perception and the influence of carefully orchestrated drama. The interplay between these three forces is what makes the story so mesmerizing, unpredictable, and impossible to ignore. Now, this is where you come in. We want to know what you think are Rashida's moves, brilliant strategy, or calculated risk. Will Kirk be able to fully regain her trust, or are the cracks too deep to mend? And what about Jasmine? Will her manipulations continue to unsettle the Frost household, or is she already losing the game she so carefully plays? Your thoughts, your opinions, and your reactions are what make this story come alive.